All right, we're starting off 5.1. It goes back to the definition of the natural log. Again, we had that last unit where it's defined as the area under the curve of 1 over t dt from 1 to x. Just going back to some of those properties again, same graphic as before. Our derivative of the natural log is going to result in 1 over that argument that goes into that. If you're thinking of it like a chain rule, if our argument is u, then I have 1 over u, and then what is that derivative of u? All right, so here's some examples. So my y prime is going to be 1 over the argument, and then what's that chain rule of 5x is 5. So then the 5's are going to cancel. All right, 1 over that argument, chain rule, simplify. Y prime is 1 over the argument, multiply by the derivative of the inside, simplify. All right, we'll keep going here. So we're getting a little bit more complicated here. So I should be able to take this and do a rewrite with my natural log rules and take that exponent out in front like a coefficient first. Now when I take the derivative, that constant's coming along for the ride, and I've got 1 over my argument, and then my chain rule. So now when I simplify, took one step longer just to do the rewrite, but it made the derivative process a lot easier. All right, so then I've got my square here. So this is squaring the whole thing. All right, so this would be the same thing if I had natural log of x squared times natural log of x squared. So I can bring that 2 in front, and then I can bring the 2 in front. So then that's really a 4. Natural log squared. So now if I want to take the derivative here, the 4 is going to come along for the ride. I'm treating this like a chain rule. All right, so then I've got to bring my power down of 2, keep the base the same, drop that power down to 1, take the derivative of the inside. Then what is the derivative of the argument? Is 1. So then I'm going to have 8 natural log of x over x. All right, next one I've got a product rule. So I've got derivative of the first times the second plus derivative of the second times the first. So the first term doesn't change. And then the second term, I can just simplify to be an x. All right, number 7. Again, I would rewrite this to be using your sum and difference rules. So I can split that up from the expansion with a subtraction. So now when I take the derivative, I've got 1 over the argument, multiply by the chain rule, 1 over the argument, multiply by the chain rule, we're good. So here I would do another rewrite. So I got natural log of x plus natural log of x squared plus 1. That was supposed to be a minus. Minus natural log, well, I'll put the 1/2 out in front. 2x cubed minus 1. Now when I take the derivative, it's 1 over the argument, chain rule, 1 over the argument, chain rule, 1 over the argument, chain rule, simplify, nothing to do there. Just write the 2x in the numerator. I can have my 6 and my 2 in the denominator simplify. And that's it. All right, so this is just your box graphic like out of the textbook. So if I take the derivative, it's going to be 1 over x there, showing you that the domain of natural log has to be positive and ways to address that being positive. So if we take the derivative here, I know the result is positive. My input's positive, which is fine. So I've got 1 over my argument, which is secant plus tangent. And then I'm going to multiply by the derivative of that. So derivative of secant is secant tangent. And then this is all multiplied together, so we need a bracket around both. The derivative of tangent is secant squared. So if we put that all together, what are we going to have? What if I factor out a secant x, then I would have tangent x plus secant x all over secant plus tangent. So now that tangent secant addition is going to simplify off. So then my final answer is just going to be the secant of x. All right, so we've talked about the definition of e as well. We talked about that before, the definition of the natural log. Find the derivative using your logarithmic differentiation. So if we did that the long way, you can see the chain rule within the quotient rule. But now we can split this up as a rewrite. So I would have 1/2 my log of x squared minus 1 minus, because of the quotient, 1/2 my log of x squared plus 1. So now if I take that derivative, the 1/2 it's going to come along with. I've got 1 over my argument, chain rule, 1/2 comes along with 1 over my argument, chain rule, simplify, my 1/2 and the 2 is going to simplify, 1/2 and the 2 is going to simplify, and that guy looks good. We have one more. Use derivatives and previous information to find extrema and points of inflection. So I need to find my derivative. So I've got a quotient rule. So derivative of the top is 1 over x times the bottom minus the derivative of the bottom times the top all over the bottom squared. All right, so if we're looking for relative extrema, we got to take that first derivative, set it equal to 0, or where it's undefined, and that's going to be undefined at 0, and it's going to be 0 at e, but based on the domain of the function, we cannot be 0, so we've got a critical point at e. All right, so if we're going to do some test values, maybe we'll do something like e to the 1/2 and e squared. Okay, so if I take this e to the 1/2 and evaluate, I'm going to have 1 minus natural log of e to the 1/2. I know the denominator is going to be positive, so I'm not going to evaluate there. Again, I can take this power and put it in front. So I've got 1 minus 1/2 natural log of e. A natural log of e is a 1, so this result is going to be a positive. So we're going to have a positive slope. So now if I change that power to a 2, changes that coefficient to a 2, changes that to a -1, we're going to have a negative slope there. So I'm going to have a max at e, comma, for me to find my y coordinate, don't forget you got to go to the original equation. So natural log of e is a 1, so then I'd have at 1 over e is my y output. So now I've got to find my second derivative. So I'm going to be using the blue notation here. I'm going to be taking my derivative from that quotient rule. So if I say derivative of the top, I'm going to have a negative 1 over x times the bottom, x squared, minus derivative of the bottom, 2x, times the top, 1 minus natural log of x, all over denominator squared is x to the fourth. Let's see if we can simplify here. Let's see, this would be a negative 3x. So if anything, I can take out an x. So let's simplify that a little cleaner. So if I factor out an x, then I have 2 natural log of x minus 3 all over x to the fourth. And then I can simplify my x and call that x to the third. We're looking for points of inflection, so we're going to set this equal to 0. And same whether it's equal to 0 or undefined. I'm going to have my x of 0. And then I'm going to have when does 2 ln of x minus 3 equal 0. So when does ln equal 3 halves? Take both sides of the base e. So then I've got x is e to the 3 halves as my possible point of inflection. So let's use e and e squared then as my test values. So if I take e and evaluate into here, again, the denominator is going to be positive, so that's a non-issue. So I've got 2 ln of e minus 3, which is 2 minus 3, which is a negative 1, so we are concave down. And then if I take that same expression and evaluate at e squared, so then I've got an e squared here, so I can bring that power down, so that's a 4, and that would be a positive 1. So then we are concave up. So then I've got point of inflection. At e to the 3 halves. And then we've got to go back to the original to see the y coordinate. So if I wanted to see the y coordinate, then I can say that that's y is, or let's say y evaluated at 3 e to the 3 halves is equal to natural log of e to the 3 halves over e to the 3 halves. So I bring this guy down. So then I've got 3, 2, e to the 3 halves. All right, that's part A.